Healing is not complicated. It's really actually very, very, very simple. It is not like trying to put together something you bought at IKEA, where you have to figure out, how do I make this all come together so that I will heal? Healing it's not an IKEA thing. It's a trusting nature thing. Now, depending on how our experience with humans has gone, we might get some ideas about trust and trustingness and self-reliance and what is or isn't actually here for us in a supportive way. And humans, humans. Well, maybe I'll have a little bit of something against humans, but the actual point I'm trying to make here is that what happens with humans can start getting superimposed on our relationship with nature and how nature works and what is natural and trustworthy in nature. So often to come back into a healing state out of a non-healing state, that can be a little bit, it can take a little bit of work. Healing is simple. Coming out of our non-healing states back into a healing state is not always simple, because the first thing we have to do is start to relearn how to trust. Not humans, not the latest offer that you got over email to buy whatever that's going to solve your problems, not what you're reading in the newspaper. It's not about trusting any of that. It's about an inner state that's in the body of, without necessarily being able to say what it is. You can call it nature. You can call it anything you want, that there is something I can trust. Gravity as a force of nature is really helpful for that. It's like, okay, gravity. Inertia and the supportiveness of whatever we're actually sitting on, it's like it's there. Okay. That can help too. Remembering instances of healing that actually did happen without us having to fuss at it. Like, you cut yourself or something and it heals. And you did not need to do 10 years of psychotherapy. You did not have to make an effort. There is something inside of us that, if left unimpeded and not interfered with, makes healing. It's just that there are a lot of different states in which that feels like a fairy tale. And you don't have to follow me into this, but I'm going to imitate some. Go, 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 go. Got to make it, got to make it, got to do it, got to. This kind of like treading water feeling that if I'm not like running up the down escalator, then I'm going down. And I think a lot of people, it's totally understandable when looking at outer conditions sometimes, to start seeing how our whole body and spirit can start converting over to the running up the down escalator mentality. I have to. And yet, what actually made Muhammad Ali the champ is that there was a bell that would go ding every now and then, and he'd get to sit on a stool and have Angelo Dundee rub his shoulders and tell him he's the champ. Those moments of not running up the down escalator, even if you got to get back out there and do it again later, it's like right now it's a healing moment. That can take some reminders and some retraining. I think I call myself a remedial kindergarten teacher. This is all I teach all the things I wish that we'd learned in kindergarten. So running up down escalator or inability to trust nature enough to actually feel nature is one of the non-healing states that we will talk about and explore in the upcoming workshop on healing and non-healing states. There are a lot more. The ways that we can obstruct healing. I'm going to give you my list of like top 7. Like these are the ones that I see a lot, but they're kind of infinite. One of my favorites is getting very, very analytical. I have an analysis of what the problem is. I have an analysis of why I'm hurting, who caused it, how it's part of a sociological, existential, economic structure. And I understand that. And I can spend a lot of time spinning those wheels. But that's not a healing state. It's a PhD state if we do it well. And it's much worse than that if we're not doing it well. We're just like even an attempted PhD. I need to understand this. How much did you need to understand that cut on your arm in order to heal it? There's what I call human confetti, when you're just not in your body at all, and you're kind of running around, staying not just on the surface, but kind of busy. That can lead to not being on location enough to heal. You've got to be on location enough to heal. And we'll talk about that and how to support someone if you're a practitioner, how to support yourself if you're a human, in being able to come back on location. We're noticing that we haven't been on location. And there's one of my favorites, the pain artist or emotional smoke screening. When I'm in pain, I would so much rather become a diva singing, I can express myself. I just get really caught in expressing myself on the subject, sometimes very eloquently and very dramatically, and it can kind of escalate up and actually become an impediment to what's really bothering me. It can be like, oh, I am Oz, the great and powerful, but what's bothering me is like, I just feel bad about something I said, and I think that they now think I'm a jerk, and I think they might be right. That's the man behind the curtain. So we'll look at, am I emotional smoke screening, being a little twirling pain ballerina with compassion, just like, you're cute. Great job. You're an artist. It's wonderful. But where does it hurt? In the words of Ruby Sales, come right back to where does it live? Another brilliant one is doctrines and absolutes. I call it the devil quoting scripture, where we give ourselves very good advice. And it really might be very good advice. But you know what? It's seriously not helpful because it's actually just a way of saying, shut up. And it stops our processing cold in its tracks. Well, you should da-da-da-da-da. Well, da-da-da-da-da. And God helps those who help themselves. And the rest offense is a good defense is good. I don't even know what we sloganize and preach to ourselves. And I'm not saying any of that stuff isn't actually in some ways good advice, but it's not being delivered to ground zero. And if we actually were paying attention to ground zero, it's not that advice that it may need to hear. It may just need to be held in healing space where it can go, and, gasp a few times and start to soften. Another one of my favorites. Let me tell you another one of my favorites. Blame. It's great. And this can be done up in also in very erudite analysis, but it's basically like boom, boom, like just shooting arrows. All the shit that they have done that has resulted in the harm in me, which again might actually turn out to be, might really be very important as an accountability conversation. I am not at all discounting the need in life for accountability conversations. That's great. I'll note first, they're not the same as blame conversations. They land really differently, accountability conversations. And I will note too, that that's not the same as a healing conversation. So we're not dealing away with accountability. We're just saying, might the blame be a way of saying, don't look at me? And turning it around to say, we'll talk about that later, after some self-care, after we've had a healing conversation. Bookmark the appointment for the accountability conversation. But the healing conversation, it's very different, and that can happen right now. Healing takes place in a state that's kind of like a compass, a state in which we can feel gravity connecting us to Earth. We can feel our breath connecting us to the cosmos. And we have a sense of direction. Like in our body, we have a felt sense of which way towards health versus which way towards hell, you know? It's something that when we're settling between heaven and earth becomes a little more clear. We get for those first compass points first, and then feel for, I often do it in reverse. I'll like say, which way to hell from here? Like, how could I make this whole thing worse? How could I like just take the whole thing and poison it and set it on fire and turn it into a toxic dump? And I say, great, that way towards hell. It gives me a good compass point. Okay, where's the other direction? And even if I'm not feeling ready to take a step in that direction, I'm like, okay, it's that way. Health is that way, not that way. That already keeps me out of so much trouble. So one of the non-healing states is what I call spinning compass, where we can't heal because we have no idea which direction is health, and we may be actually making things worse. Pouring on the gasoline, you know, flinging matches. It's like, whoa. Let's set the compass first. Yeah. And then another one, the last one I'm going to mention, is what I call suppressed spinning compass, which is a state in which we have no idea which end is up and where is health. And we're taking the whole thing, we're crunching it down and paying no attention to the messy turmoil underneath and just saying, oh, how do I heal? But like with this kind of clean countertop on top of it. And when we suppress the mess but try to heal, we often will try any number of things and none of them work. And we don't know why they're not working, because we're doing all these things, but we're getting nowhere because we've got a suppressed spinning compass, and we're going to need to admit, I'm lost. Lost is really cool. I'm lost. When you're lost, you can go anywhere from there. When you're lost, the infinite opens itself up to give you personal revelations that don't come until we admit, I'm lost here between heaven and earth. And with a sense of, well, that way would be worse. It means that that way might be better. Okay, that is a state called sincerity. And that's where healing happens naturally. We'll be talking about all of this in much more detail and with practical demos together in the upcoming workshop. Hope to see you there.